as we said, just before that track, which was the sounds out of Fancy, T.I. and Swiss Beats. And I can't remember the track that I was playing before then, but I had to cut it short because of the profanities. You know, we are a licensed station and all of that there. But yeah, welcoming back to Each One Teach One. We've got Pete from Conversations of Money. Welcome, Pete.
Thank you. It's nice to be back for a second time in like 2 months. Good.
Yeah. Let's talk about collaborations. Definitely getting it. So one thing I noticed when I was listening back last time is that we didn't actually do an intro of yourself.
Okay.
You know, so feel free, let people know your previous experience in finances and I suppose what qualifies their listening ears to take in what you're saying as a financial guider.
Okay. Well, I'm Peter and I've worked in financial services for 15 years. I started off as a cashier in a very small building society called Portman back in the day.
Okay.
Portman got bought by Nationwide and I continued my career through there. But through 15 years, I've been a cashier, I've been a relationship manager, I have been an account manager in corporate banking. I then moved from there, went into wealth management, where basically I've built up experience working with pensions, investments, onshore, offshore, all sorts of stuff there. I qualified as a financial advisor back in 2014, and I qualified as a mortgage advisor maybe like 2 or 3 years ago, something like that. So I've advised, I've dealt with clients, cashiers, face to face, that kind of stuff. So yeah, and I'm still in wealth management now.
Definitely. Wow, I love that. Okay. So as we've been asking throughout the week for questions coming in from the audience, we've had quite a few actually, and there's a main one what we're going to get into. But I suppose where should we kick it off from? One of the questions being Valentine's Day today.
Oh yeah.
One of the questions came in, you know, on the dating scene. How do people manage their money, right? And not try and claim to be something that they're not. So keep it real. Splash out on their partner, but not overly splash out. So basically, just keep it sensible.
Well, I guess for me, it's like, well, what do you want to go and buy your partner? Do you think of it beforehand, or are you thinking on the day?
Oh yeah, how are you planning it?
How thoughtful are you, gentlemen? Yes, that's what I would say, right?
Yeah.
Because if you kind of think beforehand around what you want to buy, then at least you can plan for it. But if you're doing it on the day, it's a little bit harder, especially if, you know, sort of money's a little bit tight. But then again, I think as well, maybe there's a little bit of relationship dynamic going on there. What does your partner expect of you? For some people, the thought counts. So sometimes you don't have to be lavish and buy outlandish things to demonstrate that, you know, you love somebody necessarily, certainly on sort of Valentine's Day. But if you did want to go big, think beforehand, try and plan it. You know, I know everybody gets busy and stuff like that, but try and plan beforehand. And I think for me personally, I think the more thoughtful presents are often the ones that people always remember.
True. I was having a discussion the other day actually with a woman who was saying, you know, she's saying to her man, you know, sometimes you should spoil your woman. It's not all the time we get to check out and it should be 50-50. And I was saying, but hold on, do you even know the brother's financial situation? Do you know what I mean? Before you're expecting this and that. And it's true, lastminute.com does bring pressure on the pocket.
Absolutely, yeah.
So, okay.
It's all about planning. It's all about thought. And this is the kind of stuff that I always, and I know that it's boring. I go on about this stuff all of the time. But it's really, really important to forward plan, to forward think. Like we talk about financial management. Financial management is a lot more than just managing money and budgeting, but there is so many facets to it. But what planning basically does, it allows you to build a foundation to point your money to where you want it to go. And those are the bases that you have to have in place. If you know you want to buy your partner something expensive, well, how much is it going to cost? You must have done some research. So when you've done the research and you know the thing's going to cost you 200 quid, for example, you'll be thinking, well, where am I going to get the money from? So if you thought about it beforehand, you can at least plan around how you're going to basically buy it, how you're going to afford it, so on and so forth. It's all about pre-thought.
It is about pre-thought. Big up for that. All right, so we're live and direct on the Instagram, Conversations of Money. So join us there with your questions. And also we're live and direct in the studio as well. 0121 439 7230. Each one teach one show until 9 p.m.
So as you mentioned planning, P, you know that I don't know what the proper word is for it, that the platform, the community, community that you've got, that's a major part of what you're teaching on that. I'll say teaching because it is financial education. So when you responded there, for me, it's that it's a lifestyle, isn't it? So it's not if we are planning and looking at our finances and direct it to where we want to go, then Valentine's Day is just another thing.
It's another thing that's in the works of what you have to deal with.
Yeah.
In the community, because I know that you're part of the community now.
Yeah.
In the community, like certainly for this year, because it's all about 52 financial tips, and a lot of so I give exercises most weeks, so there's things for people to go off and do.
Yeah.
And then inevitably, as we go through the 52 weeks, these exercises are all interlinked. So things will come back. So for example, over the last 2 weeks, we've been talking about debt and how, so the tip for Monday was how to attack debt. So what I gave there was examples of what you do if you have a credit card, if you have overdrafts, if you have mortgages, personal loans, for example. But the previous week, there was an exercise from weeks 2 and 3, which meant that you couldn't complete this week's task if you hadn't done the exercises in week 2 and 3. And if you hadn't done those, and I asked you to review in week 5, if you hadn't done that, you wouldn't be able to move on. So these things are all interlinked. I think the big point is that whatever part of the journey that you're on, you're right. Life is life. Money is just there to enhance it, to prop it up, to help it move along smoothly. And if you plan ahead, you know you can just take that bit of money from here to do this. It's about having a plan.
And that commitment, I like that. Yeah. So one thing from previous week and then leading into the next week. So how's it going? How's it going in the community?
I like it. I mean, I just feel like when people say, "Yeah, great advice, great tip," I feel like corny. I'm comment for a bit. But and what I find as well is that there's people in the community that are to a certain level financially savvy.
Yeah,
they're not all beginners.
Yeah. There's a nice mix of people in there.
Yeah.
There's a few people that have actually surprised me that I know that have followed me on Instagram for a while. And I didn't quite realise that they were that well off and they're still listening. So you get a really good mix, because I think it's often expected that if you're at a certain level, you don't need it. It doesn't matter what level you're at, you still need the basics, and the basics enhance all of this.
Yeah, and that for me, and that was now, because I don't know, well, I wouldn't mention the name anyway, but I could tell just by the person's response that they knew something about finances.
Yeah.
And then for me, it was interesting to say, oh, okay then. So actually these people are still, they're still on a journey of improvement. They're not about to let their finances slip out of control. Like anywhere where they think they can get advice or tips, or they're there. And I was like, wow.
I always say, you don't know what you don't know till you know you don't know it.
True.
And that's actually quite dangerous, because you think you know it all, but actually you don't know that you don't know something until you realise you don't know it. And therefore it's always important to kind of try and gain more knowledge. And that's certainly something within my profession is important. It's, I've got to take X amount of hours in continuous professional development every single year. That's important, because you have to stay on top of what's going on, and you have to be relevant all the time.
True. I mean, last time we were speaking about mummy finance as a single parent as well, and funding for businesses came up as well, which of course last time we talked about Get Grants. So all you're interested can go onto there. But yeah, I mean, there seemed to be an array of questions before, but I think just generally people are like, how do I still manage the money in my pocket if I feel like it's not even enough to save? So I suppose remind people of how they can save with the little that they have. I mean, some people say 10%, don't they? You know, for your well-being, for fun and entertainment. But what would you split the pots of saving into?
It completely depends person to person.
You want to jump into it? Go on.
Go on.
So it really, I'm not going to take too long, because I don't want to talk about what I don't know. What I have got from the community is that it's been very open and honest with your finances. Understand what you've got coming in and what you've got going out.
Yeah.
Then what you've got left, then you portion that to different aspects of your life. So, and it's not about looking at how much you'd like to put in that pot, it's how much you've got. Yeah. As long as you're putting something and then it's growing.
My job is done.
There you go. It's working. There you go.
That's exactly it. That is exactly it. It doesn't matter what level you're on. It's all about understanding what you've got and what you've got going out. Because often, so in week 2, what we did is we had a look at decluttering your finances, which was taking some time to have a look at everything you paid for the last 6 to 12 months. Because when I do the exercise, there's always something that I find that I paid for that's on a recurring, like, payment on my card that I didn't realise is due to go out. And so I look at it and I say, well, actually, I don't need that, and then when I tally it all up, it ends up being 100 quid or 200 quid. So that's money that I've already saved. So it's all about understanding what went out in the last 6 to 12 months. And then in week 3, we did a spending plan, and it's all about understanding, right, so if I've got £1,000 coming in, 50% or 60% goes towards my mortgage, my rent, electric, gas, all the stuff that you need to survive. Then I've got another portion of money that goes out towards all the non-essentials. It could be your Spotify, your Netflix, the things that really you could do without if you needed to, right? The additional stuff that make things nice. Then you know, well, everything that's left, it might be 10% or 20% is my disposable. I hate using the word disposable, but it's like, it's money that's kind of just left over. And what I try and say to people is, that is the money that you should be doing something with. So within that pot, if it is only, say, 10 or 20%, you can say, you know what, if you want to spend all of it on just enjoying yourself, absolutely, you can do that, as long as you're okay with it. But if you really want to kind of like utilize your money cleverly, you could then say, well, actually, 50% of that 10% that's left can go into a savings account. So I have an emergency fund if anything were to happen, so on and so forth. So it's very, very different depending on your circumstances. But going through that exercise will at least allow you to set a baseline of where you are so that you can decide what you want to do.
I like it.
I always kind of liken, I hate using the word budget. Your spending plan is like your sat-nav, right? So if you wanted to go somewhere from A to B, your sat-nav tells you how to get there. Your spending plan is your sat-nav for your money. You tell it where to go.
Okay, I like that one. And as you mentioned investments as well, we're going to get into it with investments.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are going to get into investments because, yes, I'll let you segue into that when we're ready.
Yeah, we'll segue into it definitely. Let's go into another track then, shall we? This is like, I'm on a Drake fever right now, actually. So let's hope he's behaving himself with the language. All right, let's go into this one with Alicia Keys, a throwback, Fireworks. Right, so that was the sounds out of Drake featuring Alicia Keys, Fireworks. And I was just saying, actually, Alicia Keys is in the city. I believe it's June 16th, so I definitely need to be there. But anyway, we're on the topic of money and financial wellness with our special guest, who is a returning guest, Pete from Conversations of Money. And we were just speaking about investment versus trading. We're going straight into it, by the way, family. And I was asking, trading, what do you mean? Is it having your own business or what? So let's start there, Pete. What does trading mean?
Okay, so when you talk about trading from a financial point of view, so if you're on Instagram and you're on Facebook, you're on any social media, you'll be seeing loads of this right now. They'll be talking about trading stocks or trading foreign exchange.
Yes.
That's very, very different to a trading business.
Okay.
So a limited company trading is selling something, right?
Yes.
You have a business entity that's providing either a product or a service. Okay. This is very, very different to that. What you're effectively doing is you're trading you're trading either currency, stocks, or you're trading a commodity of some kind, something like gold or oil.
Yeah. Now, I was speaking about this the other day, actually, as we speak about investment. And last time Pete was on the show, we were speaking about loads of different investment options. So if you haven't heard it already, you can tune in via the Mixcloud link, Each One Teach One show. But today we're speaking particularly about, I went to a meeting this week about forex trading, right? And as you say it there, it's actually foreign exchange trading. That's what it's short for, yeah?
Yeah, foreign exchange.
So, as I was trying to click in what these people were on about, it was a meeting for about an hour, right? Everyone was bombarding us with how much money they'd made. There was speaker after speaker talking about the different levels of the business. You do pay a monthly membership fee, which is $172. And basically out of this, you are trading. Okay, so I was trying to get to the bottom of what are we trading, because gold spoke to me, and how am I doing it, and what am I looking at now. Me, I'm interested in stocks and shares. I don't know enough about it, so I haven't done it yet. But I was kind of like in a meeting and still trying to, like I say, just get through all of the cloud of, yes, the mindset has to be there. You know, you have to be ready to get your mind around earning X amount of money, and you have to give your time to such a thing, to actually see the rewards and da 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 da. But I was trying to get to the literals of what am I going to be doing on a day to day? What am I looking at? How do I see trends? Obviously, I'm exchanging foreign exchange currencies, so I don't literally have it. But how do I look at market trends and da 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 da? It was just one meeting that I went to. I really wasn't sure if it was for me at all. There was a lot of people in the room, a lot of people standing up, sitting back down when they were called to speak about their own testimonies. There's different schemes. You can either be a paid member, or you can get 3 people to join the scheme, like a pyramid scheme, really, because everyone gets something. Depending on how many people, and like a knock-on effect, right? I've signed up 3 people, so I don't pay for my monthly membership because I've got
it's exactly a pyramid scheme.
Yeah.
And this is why everyone, if you're listening to this, please, 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 I beg you, please be careful. And I said this on my Instagram account actually this week. I said, if anyone can find me one of these things that is completely legit, where you are making money hand over fist consistently, I will give you the keys to my Tesla tomorrow.
You hear it.
So please, please, please be careful. So I'll start with the very, very basics.
Yeah.
Because people often get confused around what is trading, what is investment, what's the difference between the two of them. Okay. So if you are invested, so Shani, you're interested in the stock market, right? So if you invest in the stock market, what you're effectively doing is you are buying shares in a business, a well-known business, a household name, known nationally, known internationally. I'll reel off some that people will know: Apple, Amazon, Tesla, Netflix, right? Tesco's, British Gas, British Petroleum. You're buying big international corporations who are extremely profitable, who have been around for a while, that have a history in the business world, and you are buying a share in their business. So you own a piece of a big conglomerate, right? In exchange for that piece, what you get in return is you'll probably get a yearly dividends, which is, it could be a share of the profits, and it might be in the shape of 4% of your £10,000 investment every single year. That is investing. That's in stocks and shares. So a stock is basically a share within a business, or a stock within a business, a household name, right?
Clear.
That's investing. Trading is basically a casino. Because what you're doing, and I'll use foreign exchange as an example, what they get you to do is they get you to trade currency pairs. So they could say the US dollar versus the British pound. And what you're expected to do is you'll say, right, okay, so today, Shani, I think the pound is going to finish higher than the dollar. And you're making a bet. And they'll tell you, well, this is your starting point. Where do you think it's going to end? You might say, I think it's going to end at £1.50. Right? So it's hit and miss. It's a 50-50 chance that you either hit it or miss it. If you hit it, you make money. If you miss it, you lose money. All right? You don't physically own anything. You're not taking ownership of any stock. You're literally placing a bet on an assumed outcome. That's trading.
Pete from Conversations of Money joining us today for the second time. And I think it's safe to say this is going to be a regular thing, isn't it, Pete?
It is,
Once a month, as a collaboration, definitely. So for those of you who don't know, Pete's got an online community that we touched on earlier on that Sylvina's joined, and I need to get on myself actually. So let people know who aren't in it already how they can join up.
Yes, so if you go to my Instagram, which is @conversationofmoney, there is a link in my bio to the community. So all you need to do, it is completely free. And when I say it's free, people often be like, "Oh, really, Pete? Is it free?" It is completely free. I only ask 2 things in exchange for it being free. The first thing is attention, and the second thing is engagement. Very, very simple. For me, it takes up all of my weekends, Saturday and Sunday, and probably most of my week as well, because the content that I put out is always planned effectively. So what I do within the community is I do a video, so you can watch a video. So it's not something, if you're not the kind of person who likes to read stuff, you watch a video, you get the point. You can read the article that comes along with it as well.
I like that.
Then most weeks I also produce like a downloadable, which will either be your exercise, things to do, that kind of stuff. What I have now done over the last 3 weeks or so is I've now actually done a podcast as well. So if you don't have time to go and watch it and read it, you can listen to it on the go.
Come on.
So it's all about attention and engagement. Those are the 2 things that I'm asking for. That is it. So you go onto Instagram, follow the link in my bio. There are 5 questions that you have to answer. I let you in from there, and then you literally just have a look around the topics, and just follow from there.
I love it. So I'm yet to find out whether I'm gonna pass the test.
You'll pass the test. Don't worry. It's not the information I asked for is just so that I can kind of get a feel for who's joining.
Where
in terms, where you are, your age, what you do for a living, that kind of stuff, your name, obviously, just so that I can get a picture of the kind of people that I have joining. Particularly for me, it's quite interesting seeing the age groups that I have joined.
Do you notice a trend with what we're going through?
It's between 25 and 45. I have quite a few people in the 30s, coming up to 40s, but I have a lot of people in like the 25, early 30s mark, and that's interesting to see.
Really, really getting smarter, you know. I know my younger sister in particular, she's definitely getting more financial savvy. I remember when I was at age 21, I definitely wasn't about it because I was coming from not having it at all. So when I started working in banking, it was like, I got money now. I can do this, I can buy this, I can go here. You know, money was just flying out my hand. So I love seeing that young people are getting a lot more money-wise as well. And like I say, there was a lot of people at the Forex trading meeting just hungry for making money, you know, and open to these side hustles. So, all right then, that's how you join the online community.
There is something I do want to talk about now, which I think is really important for maybe listeners to understand. Again, on social media, you'll find a lot of posts talking about intergenerational wealth.
Oh, yeah.
And how you build intergenerational wealth. You can do it via businesses. There's loads of ways that you can actually do it. But I think we touched on this last time I was here. I think there is one clear way that people often miss because, I don't know, maybe it's a case that they just don't think of it in that way. Or maybe it's the fact that maybe there's a little bit of a reputation around it. But it's important nonetheless. And certainly, if I look at my background of my family setup, you talk about intergenerational wealth, I'm going to get no inheritance from my parents, like nothing, nada. Like literally, I hope he doesn't mind me saying this, but one of my neighbours, he's moving house and he got a load of money from family to help buy his next house, which is an upgrade from where he is right now. And I'm like, I would never have that. Like, it would be nice if someone wrote me a check for like, you know, it would be nice if someone wrote me a check for X amount of thousands so I can upgrade my house and stuff. And I think that's very, very true for a lot of people from our background and our demographic, our kind of like culture, if it were. And I often see that, you know, you have a family, you raise a family and all that kind of stuff, and you think about, well, what do I leave for my children? Because you want your children to have a better start than you did in any way, shape or form. And I think that there's one thing that is a surefire, quick route to really getting some intergenerational wealth. Right? It's going to cost you a bit of money, but it's not going to cost you 170 quid a month. Right? And it's actually very, very simple. If you take it out young enough, it's cheap. It's really, 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 really cheap. And you can select an amount of your choosing. If you want 2 million quid, 2 million quid. If you want 1 million quid, 1 million quid. And it's called life insurance.
All right, then.
That's the whole point of life insurance. There are 2 things that are absolutely known in life. You're going to pay taxes, right, on whatever money that you earn, right? If you earn meaningful money, it becomes very, very painful. And the second thing that you know that is going to happen for sure is at some point you are going to die.
Yeah.
And that is quite morbid. It's a subject that people are like, I don't want to think about like when I'm going to die and all that kind of stuff.
In this day and age, because life really is that short.
Right?
Yeah.
But it is truth. And in that knowledge, why not have something that is going to pay out to your partner if you leave a partner, to your kids if you leave a kid, right?
True.
And these things are relatively cheap. People talk about, we can help you build intergenerational wealth. You can buy courses for this stuff now. I'm like, seriously.
People are trying to get it where they can get it,
It's like there's a course for everything now. Like, you can buy courses. I saw a course for one of these for 150 quid.
Really?
It's like 150 pounds.
Just for that sentence or two
And
that you told me right there.
All this basically is a business starter kit for 150 quid.
You know what? The word mindset is going around so much these days that people are forgetting to think. Just think for yourself as to the benefits. Now, I've got a confession to make. I haven't got life insurance.
You need to get life insurance.
I do need to get life insurance.
You need to get life insurance.
I feel like, I don't know, it's just, I have it as a side thing with my credit union. I haven't got a clue what's going into there or any of the terms and conditions or anything. But I've just thought, well, I'm not against it, but it's just something that I haven't prioritised. And I do need to, actually, and you're speaking to me now when you say that. But I've just thought, well, I don't know if I want to be in this country. I don't know where my life's going to take me.
But if you don't want to be here, you can cancel it.
True.
You can get rid of it.
True. And then I always think about the terms and conditions that people put on them. You hear these stories of, okay, mum's died, dad's died.
Yeah.
And, there's these cases where no payout is happening because of this clause or that clause.
Let's talk about that, actually.
Yeah.
Because I think that's the one thing that has historically been known about life insurance.
Yeah.
Oh, I've had a bad story where it didn't pay out.
Yeah.
And the biggest piece of advice that I can give people is don't just go to Money Supermarket and go and get a life insurance policy and pick the cheapest one.
Okay.
Right? If you can, and this is what I would always recommend, go and see a financial advisor and get them to source it for you. Now, people often say, well, I've got to pay him. No, you don't.
Oh.
You don't have to pay a financial advisor to take out life insurance policy for you.
Really?
You don't.
Okay, just quick conversation.
He gets paid from whoever he puts the policy with. So what a financial advisor will do is he'll say, right, Chantel, what's your situation? You've got a daughter, right? What's your work life like? You've got property, all that kind of stuff. They take the entire picture and they say, right, how much do you want? And if you said, I want £500,000 quid, he will then go out to the market and he will find the best policy for you for £500,000 quid based on your circumstances. Now, it may not be the cheapest one, but when he comes back to you to present it, if there's one that's cheaper, he has to explain to you why he's not selected that cheaper one.
Okay.
And if you then say, well, actually, no, Steve, I want the cheaper one, he then has to give you the cheaper one.
See, because I didn't even know that you can dictate how much the payout is.
Yeah.
I just thought you just pay a certain amount each month and then whatever it is, you just get that at the end.
No. You dictate the amount that you want, and then it will give you a price. Now, the beauty about life insurance is that because it's a policy that is there, it will pay out for us. You obviously have to keep up the payments on a monthly basis, but as long as you do that, it will literally just pay out that lump sum of money.
Okay, so that's a bit.
And the younger you are, the cheaper it is. The older you are, it gets more expensive because as you get older, you're prone to have more illnesses, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Another thing that you can do, and I talk about this a lot in terms of think about the journey that you've been on, right? You progressed from where you were 5 years ago to where you are right now, right? Now, I could get in my car, right, go home, get in a crash, break my back, can't work ever again, right? If I don't have any insurances in place to cover that,
you've had it, basically.
My house is gone, my car is gone, life as I know it right now is completely gone. You can insure yourself for things like that as well, so that if something like that were to happen, you're not taking a massive step back in lifestyle because something out of your control has basically happened. I think with insurances, it's really important to take a wider view and kind of don't listen to the myths and do take some advice, because if it doesn't cost you anything to pay someone, he gets a commission from whoever he places it with, and he has to explain to you why he's not chosen the cheaper one on the and you can dictate and say, actually, no, mate, I can only afford this much. And that's one of the things they have to take into consideration. How much can you afford?
Okay.
So
I didn't know that, Pete. Thank you. So I'm going to be speaking to you afterwards, actually, out there, about who you would suggest as a financial advisor to direct me into that particularly. What was I going to say? Just that it's true what you were saying earlier on about life. You just never know where it's going to take. Because I care for these people every day who have had these random situations happen to them and they've just been knocked off their feet.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? One lady's just tripped over her shoelaces one day. Bam, that was it. She's in a wheelchair for life now.
Yeah.
And can't even get herself up and walk.
Yeah.
Hoisted from bed to settee.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So okay, thank you very much.
I know a number of situations where I know people personally. I know someone at the moment who's relatively young, 30s, diagnosed with cancer. And
just like that.
It's things, you don't know what's going to happen around the corner. I mean, luckily for them, they did have insurance. You can get them where actually, if you get diagnosed with any number of medical conditions, you get your payouts. If you covered yourself for £200,000, you're diagnosed, you get £200,000 sent to you.
Wow. So you can just start like a bucket list right there.
There are, especially if cancer's a nasty thing. You don't want to be in a situation where you have to go through the trouble of treatment. You have to focus on getting well, but then have to worry about keeping the lights on and keeping the roof over your head and all that kind of stuff. So it's there to give you that comfort.
Life insurance. So if you're like me and you're not on it, get on it. Let's do our research and I'll feedback to you next week how I've gotten with it.
Yeah.
So thank you. All right then. How's the Instagram coming along?
Instagram is good.
Good.
I'm not on Instagram as much because obviously my energies are focused right now on the community for most of it. So a lot of the content that I'm putting on Instagram is effectively just snippets of what's in the community right now. But yeah, Instagram's good. It does frustrate me because I see all this stuff that
the pop-ups of quick making money.
Yeah, I start to pull my hair out. It frustrates me so much. It's like Jesus Christ, but this is the world that we live in.
Yep. I want to be there definitely when you bomb rush that meeting. I'm gonna let you know when they're going and see.
Yeah, please do let me know. It's on a Wednesday. I'll make time to actually get down there.
We've got a few questions that have come in from Sophie and Morgan Genius, and on the topic of wellness as well. Big up yourself because I know you're all about that, Queen. So the first question is land investment in the Caribbean. Also, people moving to Africa, is that the new best investment? So I suppose investments in properties abroad anyway, is that the new kind of investment that we're getting into?
Well, you can do it, absolutely. There's no reason why you can't. I think the most important thing is if you're buying a property abroad, are you buying it to live in it? Or are you buying it to rent out? And if you are doing the latter, or actually if you're doing both, you need to understand what the rules and regulations are for purchasing out in a country that isn't the UK, particularly if you're not from there.
Okay.
Because you don't know what might change in terms of some countries, for example, will have limits on who can actually buy land and who can actually set up, say, things like businesses. It's like that in Dubai, for example.
Oh,
to set up a business, you need to have an Emirati on the board of the business. So you need to understand those kind of rules and regulations. I certainly wouldn't recommend anybody buying into things like parking spaces in Dubai and things like that.
I never heard of it.
Please don't do any of that.
Really?
No, please don't do any of that.
Oh wow.
But if you wanted, like one of my mates, my background is I'm Nigerian, so one of my friends actually, I'm going to be picking up a bit later on, he's talking about buying property abroad. Property that he's going to live in. So if that's something you want to do, then absolutely go and do it. But make sure you understand how the rules work in the country that you're buying property in.
Definitely, because people are just claiming land every day that they definitely haven't even got titles for, but that's something else. Anyway, and then another question is, with the pension age of women changing, what do you advise if women want to still retire at 55 to 60 years old?
Okay, so under current legislation, everybody can access their pension at 55. You've got state pension age changing, which is moving up now. I think it's moving to 66 and 68 respectively. I think it's for men 68, for women 66. So at 55 you can still access your pension, you can still retire, you just can't access your state pension.
Okay.
So What that basically means is that if you want to retire early, you need to have either workplace pension scheme or a personal pension pot of a decent size to allow you to obviously retire, to fund your retirement effectively.
Question just popped in my mind then with workplace pensions. Okay, so I've worked a few places, and I was looking through my documents the other day, and I've got a few pots of quite a bit amount of money actually in different places. So when the time comes, how do I get all my pots together?
Okay, so you can use people like PensionBee, or you can see a financial advisor.
Okay.
They can collate all that information for you and put them into one pot.
Oh, okay.
So for you, how old are these pension plans?
I'd say a couple of years, because that's another thing. Do they expire after a certain amount of time, or are they always there for me?
No, they will always be there for you, but with the way pensions have evolved over the last maybe, let's say 10, 15 years, is if you had like a really old one from like maybe 15, 20 years ago, you probably have one that is like the golden egg of pensions, which is no longer available, which basically guarantees you income at a certain level until you die. Those are very, very rare now.
Oh, so this is what I'm thinking for one. Come again. So if I've had one from 15, 20 years ago.
If you had one from 15, maybe 20 years ago, they had things called final salary pensions.
Yeah.
So a final salary pension basically is a pension where they guarantee an income at a certain level for the rest of your days based on a multiple of your final salary when you retired.
Even if you're not there anymore?
Yeah, so it will pay out. If you retire at 55, you live to age 90, they will pay you from 55 to 90.
Is it?
At a guaranteed rate every single year linked to inflation.
Okay, I didn't know about them ones either.
Those are very, very rare now. They don't exist
I don't
now.
think I've got any of them anyway.
They don't exist. They were called defined benefits. They've moved to a defined contribution system now, which means that in opposed to having a defined benefit, which is a known benefit at the end when you come to retirement, now they give you a defined contribution, so you know exactly what's being paid in now.
Okay, thank you. So a bit of education now on pensions. I love our time's going nicely actually. It's always a wondrous thing when Pete's around and we're speaking money, because time just flies, it really does. So you've got your last 10 minutes. We're live and direct in the studio. 0121 439 7230, and of course it's Blue Dot Radio at the Bless Centre right here in Birmingham. So shout out to all the Birmingham family. And if you haven't managed to catch all of this show, you can catch it back on Mixcloud. All right, just type in each one show and follow, subscribe, get your notifications on a weekly basis. Yeah, we're growing. And also, if you'd like to sponsor the show, contact us, each one at email.com or 07955 324 787. If you missed it, listen back and play back, and you can get that number again. So yeah, myself and Sylvina X, joined by our recent collaboration, who is Pete from Conversations of Money. So it's great, we're moving and we're growing. I love it. Any final thoughts?
No, I think for me, when I look at sort of, we talk about money all the time, and I always refer back to what it's really all about. It's really all about just living life and being happy. I think we're in a culture right now, maybe fueled by social media, where we want everything now, and maybe to our fault, because of this is the nature of social media and the fact that it's such a huge influence to our lives right now, that we often look at what everybody else has got, while instead of appreciating where we are.
Definitely.
And I think it's really, really important that we just take a minute, take stock of where we are, be grateful for the things that we do have, because no matter what situation you're in, there's someone who's going to wish that they were in your shoes. So,
definitely.
and patience, just be patient.
And apply.
Don't worry about what you're seeing on social media. Social media is a highlight reel. You don't see the bad stuff happening. You see all the great stuff, the things that people want you to see. Don't believe any of that stuff. I always say, own your journey. This is your journey. You own it. You enjoy it. Don't be ashamed of it. Don't feel apologetic for it. You don't need to. Your story is unique to you. It's the reason why your story will be inspiring to other people. So take it and own it. Like, that's the important
100%. I like that, Pete. Definitely. Take it and own it. All right, let's go into a final track then. On that note, Part of Life, Busy Signal, Dig Up Yourself. Do you know what I'll share with you actually? We were just talking about the importance of paying attention in everyday life, and whether that be paying attention to how blessed you are, right? The opportunity of life, getting up, and I know some people say it's cheesy, but it's really not. When you actually hear of young fatalities, people not making the most of their lives, and just taking personal accountability for who you are and where you're going, and like you said, owning your own journey.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you don't get mixed up in what people or you feel people think that you should be doing or expectations of you. Like you got to own your own journey. Like, and at the end of the day, what I've come to realize, someone said something to me once, and it makes sense now, and it's so true.
Yeah.
And maybe for younger people, they may not necessarily understand it, but he said, you cannot connect the dots going forward. You can only connect them going backwards. Because everything that you go through leads you to a point.
Yeah.
When you get to that point, you look back, it makes sense. It doesn't make sense when you're in it and it's hurting and it's painful and it's stressful and you're losing sleep over it and you feel like the world's going to end. It doesn't make sense at that point. But when you get to the point in the future, you can look back and be like, actually, it makes sense now. This is why I'm here. I always talk about the fact that, my community is free. People are like, you should be charging people 20, 30 quid a month for this. I'm like, yeah, well, I could.
That's what I was going to say. It's a lot of work to be doing for free.
It is a lot of work, but the reason why I do it is because I did not have any of this coming up. That's the one thing that I realised, right? And when I look back on my own journey and connect the dots, I went through all the homelessness that I went through. I went through all the anguish and the pain that I went through. I went through all of the struggle to be successful in a big company in Canary Wharf. Because it got me to this point where I now want to do this to help people who don't have what I've had the benefit of knowing. If I hadn't worked in the financial sector the last 15 years, my money would be an absolute mess because I wouldn't know where to go. And that's what millions of people face.
Just giving back because you can. Yeah, just gotta